The silence of the cosmos, vast and unbroken, stretched endlessly across the void. It was a familiar companion to the scientists at Jodrell Bank Observatory, a constant backdrop to their nightly vigil. But on this particular night, that silence was shattered. A new sound, faint yet distinct, crackled through the speakers, breaking the monotony of the quiet. It emanated from the dark side of the moon, a place shrouded in mystery, forever hidden from earthly eyes. The signal seemed to carry with it an air of intrigue, as if the moon itself was whispering secrets long buried in its shadowed craters.
"Isolate the signal," she instructed, her tone steady but laced with urgency. Her voice dropped to a hushed whisper. "And amplify. We need to hear everything."
The room, bathed in the cool glow of monitors, hummed with anticipation. Every scientist present felt the weight of the moment. The signal, a series of rhythmic pulses, grew louder, echoing through the chamber. It wasn't random noise, not static. This was deliberate, this was communication, a message from the unknown.
"What is it, Eleanor?" he asked, his voice tinged with both curiosity and unease.
His question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of the unknown. Eleanor, her fingers dancing across the control panel with practiced precision, analyzed the signal's properties, her mind racing to make sense of the data.
"It's complex," she murmured, her voice barely audible. "Highly structured, almost musical. It's unlike anything we've encountered before."
But there was something else, something hidden beneath the surface of the signal, a subtle undercurrent to the rhythmic pulses, a pattern that defied explanation. And then, as the room fell silent in collective realization, it became clear it wasn't just a signal, it sounded like voices, faint, fragmented, and haunting. Days turned into nights as the team at Jodrell Bank worked tirelessly, their dedication unwavering despite the mounting fatigue. The observatory buzzed with quiet intensity, a symphony of clicking keyboards and murmured discussions. Their focus was consumed by the enigmatic lunar signal, a mystery that seemed to grow deeper with every passing hour. The voices, once faint whispers, were becoming clearer, resolving into distinct patterns that hinted at something extraordinary. Each new discovery brought a mix of excitement and unease.
"There's something familiar about them," he remarked one evening, his eyes glued to the spectrograms. It was as if the voices carried a resonance that stirred something deep within him. "Like echoes from a dream," he added, his voice tinged with wonder and a hint of trepidation.
Eleanor, her own fatigue forgotten, nodded in agreement. The voices seemed to carry a weight, a story waiting to be uncovered. The voices, though distorted, seemed to tug at the edges of her memory, as if they were fragments of a forgotten melody. They were human, she was sure of it, yet they carried an otherworldly quality that defied explanation. But not voices she recognized from any recording or broadcast. They seemed to exist outside the boundaries of time and space. They were too clear, too present to be echoes from Earth's past, as if they were reaching out from somewhere far beyond.
"Run it through the linguistic analysis software again," she instructed, her voice betraying a hint of urgency. There was no room for error now, and cross-reference it with our historical voice databases. We need to be absolutely certain of what we're hearing.
She needed to know who these people were, these voices that seemed to bridge the gap between the known and the unknown. These voices that haunted the airwaves, carrying with them a sense of urgency and mystery. From a celestial body seemingly devoid of life, they called out, leaving the team with more questions than answers. The software hummed, processing the signal through its intricate algorithms. Hours ticked by, each one an eternity in the face of the unknown. Finally, the computer beeped, a triumphant yet unsettling sound.
"My God," he breathed, his voice barely a whisper.
The linguistic analysis was conclusive. The voices, the ones emanating from the desolate landscape of the moon, were speaking English. But it was more than that. The software had identified specific dialects, speech patterns, even individual vocal nuances.
"These aren't just random voices," Eleanor said, her voice tight with apprehension. "They match our own."
A wave of dizziness washed over her as the impossible truth sank in. The voices from the moon, the whispers from the void were their own. Panic, sharp and cold, gripped Eleanor. Her own voice echoing back to her from the desolate lunar surface. It was madness, a scientific impossibility, yet the evidence was irrefutable.
It's got to be some kind of elaborate hoax, he said, his voice strained. Someone's playing a cruel joke.
But deep down, a seed of doubt had been sown. The sophistication of the signal, the uncanny accuracy of the voices, it all pointed to something far stranger, far more unsettling than a mere prank. As the days morphed into weeks, the team at Jodrell Bank grappled with the implications of their discovery. The lunar transmissions continued, a haunting chorus of their own voices echoing through the void. The world watched, listened, and waited, holding its breath as the mystery deepened. Theories, wild and varied, spread like wildfire through the scientific community and beyond. The discovery had sparked a frenzy of speculation, with experts and enthusiasts alike scrambling to make sense of the inexplicable. Was this a breakthrough that could redefine humanity's understanding of time and space, or merely a trick of perception? Some speculated a time distortion, a fold in the fabric of reality that allowed echoes of their own past to bleed through to the present. Could this be evidence of a natural phenomenon, one that had always existed but remained undetected until now? Or was it a fleeting anomaly, a rare glimpse into the hidden mechanics of the universe? Others whispered of advanced alien intelligence, toying with them, mirroring their own existence back at them. The idea of extraterrestrial beings manipulating time and space was as thrilling as it was unsettling. Could this be a message, a warning, or simply a demonstration of their superior capabilities? Eleanor, however, remained grounded, her scientific mind seeking a rational explanation. She pored over the data, searching for patterns, anomalies, anything that could provide a clue. Her approach was methodical, driven by a deep belief in the power of science to uncover the truth. Perhaps, she theorized, the moon isn't as silent as we thought. What if it had been quietly observing, recording, and preserving the echoes of Earth's history for eons? Could the lunar surface hold secrets that had eluded humanity for centuries? What if it acts as a giant recording device, storing echoes of Earth's past within its rocky surface? The idea was audacious, but it fit the data in ways no other theory could. The moon, often seen as a passive observer, might instead be an active participant in the story of Earth. It was a long shot, she knew, but it was the only explanation that didn't defy the laws of physics as they understood them. If true, it could open up entirely new avenues of research, reshaping humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. The idea that the moon, Earth's celestial companion, could harbor such secrets was both terrifying and exhilarating. It was a reminder of how much there was still to learn, and how the answers to the universe's greatest mysteries might be closer than anyone had ever imagined. The quest for answers became an obsession, consuming their waking hours and haunting their dreams. Eleanor and Alistair, their initial skepticism replaced by a shared sense of wonder and trepidation, found themselves drawn closer together, united in their pursuit of the truth.
We're looking at ourselves, Alistair said one evening, his voice filled with awe. Our own past, reflected back at us from the heavens.
The thought, once terrifying, now filled him with a strange sense of peace. It was as if the universe itself was offering them a glimpse into their own history, a chance to understand their place in the grand scheme of things. As the lunar transmissions continued, a pattern emerged. The voices, it seemed, were not random. They corresponded to specific events in their lives, moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. It was as if the moon had been a silent witness to their entire existence, recording their every word, every emotion.
It's like listening to our own personal histories, Eleanor whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of wonder and apprehension. But how is it possible?
The question hung heavy in the air, unanswered, perhaps unanswerable. The implications were staggering. If the moon truly held a record of their past, what other secrets might it hold? What other stories might it tell, not just of their lives, but of humanity itself? The discovery of the lunar transmissions shattered their perception of reality, forcing them to confront the vastness and mystery of the universe. It was a humbling experience, a reminder that for all their scientific advancements, they were still merely scratching the surface of the unknown.
We thought we knew our place in the cosmos, Alistair mused one starlit night. But now, his voice trailed off, lost in contemplation.
The universe, once a source of wonder and inspiration, now seemed filled with infinite possibilities, some exhilarating, others deeply unsettling. The source of the lunar transmissions remained a mystery, a puzzle that refused to be solved, yet the search for answers continued, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a deep-seated need to understand their place in the universe.
The moon, once a familiar celestial object, now held an air of mystery and intrigue. It was no longer just a barren rock, but a repository of memories, a silent witness to the human story.
And as Eleanor and Alistair gazed up at its pale glow, they knew that the answers, when they came, would forever change their understanding of the cosmos and their place within it.